And yesterday, they completed the 3-game sweep. And now Dwane Casey, since he joined the Pistons, is 9-3 against the Toronto Raptors. This is the third time in 4 years he has swept the Raptors, and I just don't get it.
Has your team won a game yet?
We're going to... Oh, man. Derek's coming in spicy today. Shouts to super producer, Derek Brandale. But, I mean, we're going to get into all these Dwane Casey stats and the curse and the game last night, but I was excited to come in here today, wear my NN hat, real proud, because I spent the first half of this season trying to acquire the hat, finally got it, was really excited. I was waiting for today because we can officially end all this talk about the Dwane curse. By the way, Dwane was fired in 2018, okay? Yep. It's 2022 now, and somehow this is still a subplot, which, we get jokes off and stuff, but I don't know about you, it's just not funny anymore. It's so frustrating. The Pistons were, 15 and 47, 15 and 57 coming in yesterday?
Yeah, look, I disagree with you here because it's still funny to me.
It's not funny anymore, man.
All right, put the camera on me, okay? For people who are listening, Alex, you're just going to have to describe it.
Yeah, so we've got the NN hat in studio.
We also have this.
Yeah, so Will has written DC, which I believe is the initials of Dwane Casey.
All right.
And he's putting it over the NN hat right now, and he's going to wear it proud. I am personally retiring the NN hat until next season.
This is not as sticky as I anticipated, but yeah, there we go. It's a new edition. It's the new drop. Actually, this is here, Alex. Put this on your head, man, because this doesn't fit mine.
No, I'm repping winning teams only. I'm repping the back-to-back World Series Blue Jays.
Man, I wasn't even born for this.
From 92, 93. I wasn't even in Canada yet either. But shouts to Dwane Casey. I think this is what Isaiah Stewart walked out of the arena with yesterday. But listen.
Yo, the next time Dwane comes to the game, he should actually have a Nick Nurse hat on.
Okay, here's the other thing, right? So we drafted villains earlier this week, and you selected Dwane.
Yes.
And we were explaining that he was an accidental villain because anybody who knows Dwane... Now, first of all, Dwane was instrumental in building the foundation of this franchise here during the We the North era. I know you don't want to hear it. You just want to talk about the playoffs. You always want to talk about him bringing in the lethal weapon, Tyler Hansbrough, for game 1 of the playoffs. But Dwane was instrumental in establishing a culture here. Coach of the year, even though after he was let go.
Hey, coach of the year in the year that Nick Nurse took over half the offense? Or the half the team, you mean?
Anyways, I'm going to continue to defend Dwane. He's one of the best people.
Yeah, I agree.
This is what I always go to. Shouts to Malcolm Miller.
But you're saying he's the Malcolm Miller of coaches?
No, I didn't say that.
Come on, man.
He's one of the best people. And generally, I'm just trying to say, Dwane, even last night, when he was asked before the game, if he gets extra motivation playing Toronto, and he just says, I get excited whenever we win. And you know why he gets excited whenever he wins? Because the Pistons, last year and this year, combined so far, have won 36 total games. And 6 of them have been against the Toronto Raptors.
Yep.
So once every 6 wins for Dwane Casey, the last 2 seasons, has been against the Raptors. 9-3, like we mentioned. Against the rest of the NBA during that stretch, he's 88 and 183. And you pointed this out to me. By the way, I can't take this guy seriously because he's wearing...
By the way, the hat is loosened as much as possible.
Yeah, okay? He looks like a Cadbury egg right now, but it's all good. But you mentioned this to me yesterday, too, that let's say all else being equal, if the Raptors swept the Pistons this season, which you could reasonably expect because the Raptors are a team with playoff aspirations and the Pistons are rebuilding, the Raptors would be 37-25 right now, and they would be a half game out of 4th in the East. More stats. The Raptors against the 3 teams who I consider to be the best teams in the East when it comes to championship aspirations, Miami, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee, 6-2 against them this year. But against the Pistons, they are 0-3. I also pulled up players who have been part of this 4-year streak.
This is a lot of research from you, man.
I know. I put in work twice a week. Blake Griffin was part of the first win. Andre Drummond. Who else, man? Reggie Jackson. Jose Calderon.
Oh, who hit the game winner?
I think it was Reggie Bullock. Was it Reggie Bullock?
Yeah,
Reggie Bullock hit it. Jose Calderon played 6 minutes the first time Dwane returned. This is how long this has been. Wayne Ellington was part of Pistons.
Wayne Ellington, another all-time Gerald Henderson candidate, by the way.
Former and current Raptors have been part of this streak. Stanley Johnson.
That's right. He locked down Kawhi.
Yeah. They beat the Raptors. He did a bid in Tampa, and now he's with the Lakers. Svi was part of a victory during this streak. And there was another stat, too, that I got from Twitter, from user Kritika. The Pistons have only been up double digits after 3 quarters 4 times this season, and 2 of them have come against the Raptors. Yeah, that's
one of my favorite. By the way, let me add to this pile because the first time the Raptors lost to the Pistons this year, actually no, the second time. Sorry, that was the first time the Pistons had a 20-point lead at any point in any game all season. That was in the start of February or the end of January, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's half the season had gone by. They had never been up 20 at any point, except when they played the Raptors, they were up 20. And that was the game the Raptors made a big comeback, but they couldn't close it out, just like this game, which was entertaining. And looking back at the game, I was like, the Pistons did get a couple of things to drop at the end there, which were really fortunate. I thought the Bay shot was just insane, considering the fact that he split two defenders, kind of like put it underneath them and then kind of bounced it off the glass. It was gorgeous. But I don't know, he's consistent in making those Kyrie-style finishes. There was a loose ball that was tipped around like 5-6 times until Kelly Olynyk got it and got a mid-range jumper to fall. There was an air ball that went straight to Cade Cunningham under the basket, and he made it. There was a really tough one-on-one bucket from Bay driving against, I think, Boucher or Scotty or something like that, one-on-one, but got the shot up over the length of a taller player. So they got a couple of baskets to drop in overtime or in the fourth quarter. When
it felt like overtime, though. It was a playoff atmosphere.
No, it felt like the
quarter.
triple overtime. It felt like the Miami Heat game. And look, listen, I know people are going to ask, like, why does this always happen? But I genuinely think Dwane actually knows, like, Nick as well as any opponent in the league.
You had a really good example of this. A couple of plays in the third quarter, right?
Yeah.
Coming out of a timeout.
Yeah, so I can't seriously do this analysis with this hat on, but okay. It's not really on, by the way. It's just mostly floating on my head at this point. So Nick calls a timeout early in the third quarter because the Pistons go on a bit of a run against the Raptors starters, right? Coming out of that play, the Raptors try to draw something up. The Pistons go to a zone. Now, the Pistons didn't play zone for a lot of that game, right? Probably other possessions, but really it was just that one possession that stood out to me where they went to that zone. They stopped whatever the Raptors were trying to get going. And I think Gary had to chuck up a long two, just try to beat the shot clock. Didn't work. A few minutes later, Pistons call timeout because the Raptors had back-to-back scores, including one in transition. Dwane Casey's like, at this point, I got like 7 timeouts. I haven't had to call one because my team's up the whole time. Let me just call a quick timeout.
They were losing in timeouts as well, man. They were losing in every category. Nick Nurse had to self-sacrifice himself to try to end the curse by getting tossed in the third. But yes, please go on.
Yeah, anyway. So Dwane calls for timeout, and the Raptors try to do that thing to the Pistons where they came out in the zone defense. But there must have been miscommunication or something like that. But Isaiah Stewart set a screen on the left side of the floor, and I think Pascal was telling Kem Birch to get out to the perimeter, but he got screened, and then Pascal was like, okay, I guess your screen. I got to kind of close out. Isaiah Stewart's so like wide that he's able to screen both of them, and Cade Cunningham gets a wide open three. So there's small things like that. I also think that they were really well prepared for double teams and the trapping and the pressing, right? The Pistons are a young team. They only had, 9 turnovers as a team yesterday, right? And Cade Cunningham, despite getting double teamed a lot in the game, only had 1 turnover. I saw them really prepared for that full court press because the Raptors were really down after the first quarter. So Nick Nurse goes to the full court press. Immediately what do the Pistons do? Make 2 quick passes out of that press, and it's into the corner for Roddy Magruder, who's like, whatever. But he's a capable NBA player, wide open in the corner, and his job is to shoot, and he makes the jumper. Like, there's small little things like that where I just felt like the Pistons had a really good plan for what the Raptors wanted to do. And I think on top of that is just like the Raptors didn't play as hard as the Pistons did until Nick got ejected.